Hello and welcome to Matt's Mosh Pit. And today we have an extra special guest. It's Santeri from the legendary Amorphis, one of my favorite bands. And so I'm already getting just a little bit giddy on this one, but welcome, sir. It's an honor.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Nice to have a chat with the new album.
We absolutely need to celebrate the new album because I was fortunate enough to get my hands on it early and I love every bit of it. And you can tell just right from the beginning that the production value is just insane. It's a beautiful album. Like I know from like a metal album, it's hard to say beautiful, but it really is from start to finish. So I'm very curious to see there's a lot of things that I kind of learned as well as far as like the preparation for the album. What I find fascinating is that the lyrics were written by somebody who's not in the band. It's a Finnish writer, if I'm correct. And he writes everything in Finnish, and then you guys translate it into English. How does that happen? And you guys make it so beautiful. It meshes perfectly, and the languages are completely different.
Well, the storylines are the same. And we use pretty uh, good translator, and he's Ike. He used to be a singer in a band called Babylon Horse.
Mhm.
So he kind of knows in the translation process. He has a good, strong idea that they will be sung in the future. And he's also written. I think he's written a couple of books. He's kind of like a mythology specialist in a way that he knows a lot of things about Finnish mythology and ancient languages and stuff. So I haven't heard there's any problems in the translation process, but I understand it may feel weird that they are first done in Finnish. But as far as I know, I think all the information is there and nothing gets lost. So he's such a talented guy. And obviously, sometimes we bounce back, a couple of liners like these words don't fit to the melody or something, but not that much anymore. Ike has been translating our lyrics for many albums already, so the process is quite well established. So it's getting easier every year, but I'm sure there was problems in the beginning. But luckily, he's an old singer, so he's singing right now. I think every now and then with the band. So he kind of knows what the limitations like in the translation process.
I had no idea, and I found out, and I'm like, how is that possible? The music sounds so great, and it sounds so fluid, and it just told you earlier I was in Finland for the Tuska Fest, and usually when I go to another location, I try to at least understand the language, and with Finnish, I was just kind of lost. But fortunately, everybody was super kind and spoke English to me. But when I heard that, I was just like, wow, that is insane. But as far as like the music goes, you're the keyboardist and you've been around for a long time with the band. How do you guys prepare for going into the studio? Do you like, as far as the music creation goes, does everybody just bring something together and say, hey, this is what we have, or like in the studio, or is there like pre-studio work, I guess, that goes into it?
Well, actually, we do it like that. Everybody makes their own suggestions, also called the demo songs,
Mhm.
and then we collect them. There's no working together at that point. They just hump out from the home studios, and then we have like plus 20 demos, and then we send them to the producer, and it's for him. It's quite mandatory that he selects the songs from that pile to the production. Uh, that's actually one of the reasons I think why we are using producer in the first place. We started with Peter Tegren first time in the Circle since many albums because there's six guys in a band and we couldn't actually agree about which songs go to the production because everybody has their favorites. Then there may be a subjective point of view that somebody loves his baby,
Mhm.
and also we are kind of different. We have kind of different musical taste, so we listen pretty much different music. Every guy, somebody's listening extreme metal, somebody's listening stoner rock, somebody's listening psychedelic rock. So We we give the authority to the producer to select the songs for the production, and there is no, I haven't seen any complaints for years.
Mhm.
Of course, there may be bad feelings that, oh no, my baby didn't get to the album, but it's same for everybody, and it's good to have one objective side to do that
Mhm.
selection because if we do it six of us, it's most likely will be compromise because you have to kind of vote in the last phase. If nothing else helps, you have to vote.
Mhm.
But the producer takes care of the song selections, and then we also have a second task for the producer that he also selects the songs for the album.
Mhm.
And the last one is that he makes the track list for the album because the band, let's say we are not like we don't agree that much, with
Oh, okay.
because of the subjective point of view. Mm.
Yeah, because and that makes sense. Because I was curious, you guys play such a wide variety of music. I was kind of wondering how it is that you guys select the tracks, or at least the theme of the album, for lack of better terms. I've noticed that as opposed to Halo and some of the previous albums, in this particular album, like while there are growls, there's less growls and more singing in this particular album. And I don't know if that's the natural progression of the band, in where you guys are now, as opposed to more the death metal side. Um, so it would make sense, I guess, that you'd have an outside, or the producer coming in saying, "This is where we are right now." Or do you guys have a say in that? Like, do you guys say, like, as far as the demos go, going into it, do you say, this song is going to be a little bit more aggressive than this song? And I guess that's where the producer picks.
Well, it could be like that, but the vocalist Tommy pretty much works separately from the process with the vocal producer. Uh, I would say it's just his decision, like where to go the
Mhm.
extreme way with growling or make the melodic approach. On the other hand, we have such a long history. We made so many albums with this lineup, so
Mhm.
you pretty much know where there will be like shouting vocals or growling vocals, like the Bones,
Mhm.
second song of the album. It was totally clear that it will be vocals will be based on growling. Even we didn't have any discussion, but it's
Mhm.
just you can guess that that's the way it's gonna go. But yeah, you're right. I'm also pretty surprised how many lead melodies there is actually in the Borderland, and it must have something to do with looking that the band was looking for fresh elements after the kind
Mhm.
of like three albums with Jens Bogren's production, like the Halo was the last, and it's very metal album, very progressive, and probably as metal as Amorphis can be at this state of the time. So maybe just because we had a chance to kind of like renew the sound and try to find some new elements, driven by that fact that we changed the producer and we started to work with the new producer. So we
Mhm.
didn't talk about it that we're gonna make more melodic like an album, but I made my songs. They just instantly started to come. Maybe it was because we thought that Halo was certain end of an era with Jens Bogren's production. So you have to try to find new, fresh elements and surprising elements for the audience, and also to keep the band excited. So after guitar-driven proggy Halo, nobody wanted to do a continuation, just to change the producer and keep the same musical line. We didn't talk about it at all, but there must have been some sort of unconscious
Mhm.
understanding because when I heard other guys' demos, Tommy dropped a few and Esa dropped few, Ollie dropped few, and they were all kind of like going to the direction of the melodies and grooves and catchiness.
Mhm.
And we never spoke about it, so I think it's quite natural because nobody wanted to do continuation for the Halo, just change the producer. It would have been pretty wild idea,
Mhm.
and uh, I don't know. somehow it just happened that everybody took the more melodic approach and more catchy approach. I don't know where it came from, but I think it came from, as I said, we had a chance to a little bit renew the sound by new producer, and it's also the 15th album. You really have to surprise the audience, but you also have to surprise yourself, instead of just making a Halo Part 2 with different sound, So
Yeah.
it was kind of a leap to unknown to hump in with the new producer, but also it was very interesting and fun to really change everything. And even the songs changed. I don't know why. It just happened.
No, I think it absolutely pays off, and I was going to kind of save it towards the end, but this album is literally at this point in the running for album of the year for me. I love this album.
Nice.
It's just
Nice.
been I've it's been on constant rotation in my house, and
Oh, nice to hear.
so I love it. So you personally, as far as there's basically artists that love to be on stage, but then there's artists that love to be in the studio. Are you more of the studio or on the stage type of person?
Uh, let's put it easy way. I hate being in a studio, but I love performing the
Okay.
songs to the audience and play the songs with my best friends.
Hmm.
I absolutely don't like making albums at all. It's a horrible work. It's a stressful thing. Obviously, it's fun at some points, when I go to the church and play the real church organ as a spice. Well, that's fun in general. And also like playing solos, that's kind of like a fun thing. But no, I never really liked studio sessions. It's really hard work and it's really stressful because you have to be really careful not to play any kind of like shit to the album, which is
Hmm.
pretty easy with keyboards, to ruin things. And then whatever you do, you have to be pretty sure that it's decent because you will live rest of your life with the stuff. So I don't. I would be lying if I would say that making albums it's a lot of fun. No, it has nothing to do with it. It's the really hard work. Even composing is fun compared to record the studio albums. No, but
Hmm.
yeah, basically I don't like it at all.
No,
But
it makes sense. To me, it just seems like the stress would just be like
that's
painful.
why I try always to make the demos what I make. I try to arrange the keyboard parts and everything as well as I can because then I have to stress a little bit less
Hmm.
in the studio. But
Yeah.
there's some fun parts, but mostly it's just the hard labor.
Mhm, exactly. So, as far as the title goes, Borderland, how do you guys choose a title, but also what does Borderland mean to you, as a band, like to get quite frankly, the title?
Well, the problem actually was that we got the lyrics from the lyricist. There was no like concept for the name. There was no like a big title for the poem collection what he wrote. But yeah, we had like a 50 different title ideas, like always in a band when you start to brainstorm like what could it be. There's suddenly you end up with the 30 different names and somebody likes that, somebody likes that, but then we had the song called Borderland, and personally, I think the lyrical context in that song represents pretty well the overall themes in other songs and in the lyrical context, and kind of like spiritual world meets the real world, or the dream world meets the real world, or the past meets the present. In that song, the father appears in a dream to go to have some sort of a discussion or communication between the characters. So I don't know, Borderland represented pretty well. And then we started to get. I think we first got the graphics before we locked the title, but everybody was already talking about Borderland. But then when we see the Marald from Netherlands, who's the new graphical artist for Amorphis, he brought in the cover art, and there is the river, and it's the river of Tuonela, which is kind of underworld. It's translated to English. very classic river from Finnish mythology. So in that sense, when you see the river and the bridge between the underworld and the present world, it totally makes sense. And I've also been asked in a lot of interviews that does Borderland represent the new era of Amorphis because now we have changed the producer and we are going to some new, fresh dimensions. Well, I just have to say, I never thought about that, but let's see later. Like, you never know. You
Subconsciously,
never
yeah.
know. But basically, Borderland is a very good title to represent the overall lyrical context in the. There's a lot of communication and discussion and contradictions between the spiritual world and real world or the underworld and present like
Mm,
the world. So it represented it best. Obviously, we have a lot of different options as you always have when you have six musicians, also artists in the in the band. So
yeah.
there was plenty. But luckily, everybody agreed about the Borderland, and especially the singer, because I think he has the wild card to
Mhm.
authority to make the final decision because he's singing the lyrics, but he said he was also like very open for that title, and I think it represents the style well and the new era well. Actually, it represents pretty many things.
Mhm. Awesome. Well, now we get to the fun part as far as touring. So touring, I know you guys have a tour with Arch Enemy and Elvete, which I'm extremely upset that it's not in America because that is to me sounds just like a perfect tour. It sounds like it's just going to be awesome. Do you guys have, I'm assuming, plans to come back to America for with this?
Well, obviously, always we have that plan that we try with every album. We try to do the European market at least twice, the US market once or twice, depends. Sometimes we did it twice. And obviously Asia and Finland and whatever. So yeah, absolutely we have plans to come to the US. So far we only have the 70,000 tons of metal Caribbean cruise booked. That's not kind of USA because it's not in USA, it's in the
I would love
Caribbean
to be
Sea.
there.
And there's a lot of European people in the audience, but I haven't seen any dates for the US tour, but absolutely we're trying. Of course, it gets more complicated all the time, I've heard, and more expensive. But yeah, yeah, absolutely, we are coming. Unfortunately, I can't drop you any dates yet or any periods, but it could be next spring or next fall or I don't know. But absolutely, that's in our planner. Let's put it this way. Yeah.
Okay, I'll definitely keep my eyes out because I have to see you guys live. That's the one I have not. The last time you were here, I was actually out of the country, and so it just killed me that that I
Sorry
wasn't.
about that. Yeah.
No, it's not your fault. But as far as touring goes, outside of playing, the actual gig, what is your favorite part of touring?
Sleeping. No, no, that's kind of a joke, but
Mhm.
kind of true because there's kind of different kind of tourings. Festival touring is you fly all the time, and you have to wake up at 3 a.m. and then you travel 8 hours, and in that kind of a touring context, uh, I travel, I sleep, I do the shows, and then try to sleep again as much as possible because it's so tiring. But in the normal tour where you travel with the bus and you have like this bunk area where everybody can take a rest anytime, so there's much more sightseeing going on, and
Mhm.
best would be that you wake up like noonish and then you hump in, take a taxi or walk to do some sightseeing and see some exciting places. We basically see them all, but it's still you don't remember that much anymore. We are in 50s, so it's all the cities are new, and there's a lot of favorite places we go like. In New York, you can go to the Brooklyn Cemetery or whatever. And in Bogota, Colombia, we always go to Montserrat, even though we've been there like 10 times. And Sightseeing is good one. Some guys do some exercising. Me, hopefully too. But yeah, but also taking a sleeping is very important in the bus, is the long bus tours because it's not that easy to sleep in the moving bus. Some people fell asleep immediately. Me personally, I have big troubles. Sometimes I watch the whole night Netflix.
Hmm.
Then when the bus stops, I need to take the rest and I may sleep like 6, 7 hours. And then it's already some sort of a VIP signing session. And so
Hmm.
a lot of tours may go like 50% sleeping, 50% sightseeing. Yeah.
Is that the advice that you would give if there was a brand new band on their very first tour, and you were giving them advice on how to survive? Would that be the advice, or is there anything else that you would want to share?
Well, yeah, the advice would be invest on the bus, because you will kill yourself going with the van.
Hmm.
Okay, you can do one tour with the van to see how horrible it is because in the van you can't really sleep and then you have to book hotels and you sleep 3 hours. But yeah, most important thing I would say, don't forget to sleep and eat healthy and try to walk around and like
Hmm.
take some sort of a sightseeing so you have some memories and experiences from the tour later on because and meet new people and be nice
Hmm.
and don't drink too much. But the shows they look pretty similar every time. So if you have 30 shows, you probably remember a couple. But if you do sightseeing, you probably remember them all for the rest of your life. So it's always good to. And walking is healthy. Come on,
Yeah, exactly.
makes the blood flow.
So one of the questions that I always ask, especially people who've been in bands for 30 plus years and whatnot, is there a like you guys have been there, done that. You guys have played at probably every festival, every location that you can play. Is there a moment, I always think about when you put your head on your pillow at night and you go, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I actually did that." Do you have one of those moments that stands out that you're just like, "Wow, like that's something you can just, tell everybody about and just go, I can't believe I actually did that, or we met that person, or we played that particular gig, or
Obviously, there's plenty of those moments. Like, uh, well, there's so many. We supported Deep Purple in Hungary a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
That was insane moment, and we also supported Metallica when they did the Black Album tour, and it wasn't like there was none of the rock and roll bullshit.
Mhm.
James and Lars came to hang around in our backstage, and we had a half an hour chat and
Mhm.
no bullshit. Uh, Also, the Iron Maiden thing was insane because that's probably one of my biggest. Deep Purple and Iron Maiden, maybe
Mhm.
the biggest bands I used to adore, or
Yeah.
how do you say? And we supported Iron Maiden in
Mhm.
was it Helsinki Olympic Stadium?
Wow.
And Bruce Dickinson came to us like anybody want to go jogging and stuff. So it's kind of
That would
no
be
rock and
extra
roll.
trippy.
Yeah, you have a chance to go jogging with the legend, yeah, and all that kind of shit. Those
Mhm.
are kind of things which you think like, holy hell, like how this happened. You remember the times when you're listening
Mhm.
even the Killers album or the Number of the Beast album, like and moshing and stuff like that. So
If you can
yeah,
tell from
a
my
lot of those
background.
a lot of those things happen, but it's just a lot of it warms heart to see like
Mhm.
actually people are very normal and nice, and
Yeah.
there is no like bullying or rock and roll bullshit what you normally read from the papers, like or read or hear from the 80s bands that they had
Yeah.
they had another backstage or they couldn't play like 20 minutes and then I haven't seen that. All the my idols I've seen, they've been totally normal people, and that's kind of like heartwarming thing, and makes good reminder to stay humble.
Mhm.
And well, we Finnish people don't have that problem. We are very humble anyway and
Oh,
shy.
the best, I'm telling you. And if you could tell from my background, huge Maiden fan. I have So it's great to hear that like my favorite band is great people. They're great people outside and inside, you know. So it's great to hear. So thank you for that because I think that would trip me out too if Bruce said, "Hey, I don't run," but if he said, "Hey, I want to go running," I'm going. I'm
Yeah.
going with. So the last question I kind of always ask this, it's more of kind of a fun question, but it's more, you know, I also like to collect things. So I have a hobby where I just collect, like, quite frankly, like autographs and stuff like that, a lot of pop culture stuff. Do you have any hobbies, I guess I'd say, outside of the music, whether it be like collecting? I know a lot of people seem to get into like Star Wars collections and stuff like that, but some people have different other things that they collect. Do you have anything like that?
Not really. I used to collect like war history books, but not anymore because the books are kind of outdated and I can't see without the glasses. But I like to sometimes when the fans make like something very special about Amorphis or about yourself, those things I always keep, and I have some sort of a collection, not to present for the other people, but just for me. You know, it's kind of like a cool thing. You know, we have all kind of like like a drinking bottles and like necklaces and stuff like that. Those ones I like to keep because I know that people have made some effort towards with them, and it's kind of a good way to appreciate, like give something like personalized items. So those ones I collect, and also fridge magnets. How boring it sounds. And obviously, I collect some. I have an 8 millimeter, a couple of 8 millimeter cameras and 8 millimeter projectors. Sometimes when I see old films or
Yeah.
anything, and I collect those. You know. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's all like I said, I love to know what people collect because there's always what I find fascinating is there's always a holy grail out there for somebody. It could be different for every, you know, it's always going to be somewhat different, but from a like let's say like a refrigerator magnet perspective, it more just the places you've been to, or is there actually like a holy grail out there for you that you've wanted to get?
Obviously, there is. We once had a show, book, couple of shows booked for South Africa, but it got canceled like a month ago. There was some arguments with the promoters. That kind of, I would like to go to play, at least to see like the South Africa. It's there's a lot of nature and it's very fascinating because it's so it's so far away, or anywhere in Africa, and also New Zealand. I would love to play because I know the landscape is unbelievable. And we already played in Australia, but back then we didn't have time because we had to hump on one festival in Japan, so we didn't have the time to go to New Zealand. But I really hope next time when we go to Australia, there's nothing after, so we can go to, okay, play a show there if it's possible, but if it's not, maybe just go there for a short holiday because it sounds interesting and the landscape is insane and the nature is unique.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've never been there myself, but I've met quite a few people that just love the place for that exact reason. So I hope you make it there. And
Thanks.
I hope, quite frankly, I hope when the album drops that everybody gets to hear what I've been listening to because it's been so great. Like I said, it's been on constant rotation in my house.
Nice.
For me, it's really just one of those albums that you have to, you know, hit play and just ride it out through the whole album. I don't think there's a bad track at all. I think it's just, you know, for me, it's almost a perfect album. And like I said, I kind of already said that it's probably one of my favorite albums of the year so far. I always have to do this list, you know, I think all the creators do a list of their like top 10 albums, you know. I can guarantee you this album is going to be on that list. And I just thank you so much for, quite frankly, all of your work, but specifically the Borderland album. I think it's fantastic and I can't wait for everybody to hear what I've heard already. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the feedback. Yeah, haven't had that much. I haven't heard any that much, but now it starts to come. But you are one of the first who has heard the album, so it's really nice to hear. That,
Absolutely. And thank you again for taking the time out with me. Just know that when you come to America, the next time you come to, I'd say the Washington, D.C. area, I
yeah,
will be there. I'll going to be looking out, make sure I don't have any other like out of the country plans because I have to see you guys live. I just
yeah,
can't wait. So when you come to DC, we definitely hopefully can meet up again, but I will
absolutely.
be in the
Yeah.
audience no matter
Hey,
what.
see you maybe in US soon.
Absolutely. Well, thank you,
Yeah.
sir. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks.